22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome to a special. Hold on. There we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome to a special edition of the People Before Politics radio show, our Super Sunday show. We started this because
Super Sunday or Super Tuesday?
Our Super Tuesday show. What did I just say?
Sunday.
There you go. Our Super Tuesday show. We started this because on Sundays, and there's so many candidates running these days, as we go into closer to the primary, it was just all candidates all the time. And a lot of people were like, yo, what happened to the people before the politics? All I'm seeing is the politics. So we started Super Tuesday now to interview some of the candidates so we can continue to address the issues during the week. So we're setting it off. Our first guest is Yonkers City Council President candidate Lakisha Collins-Bellamy. Should be coming in real soon. There she goes. How are you doing?
Good evening. I love that intro.
Yes.
I was like, I hope they don't catch me with my head nodded before when they put me on. I love that.
Okay.
And Malcolm.
Okay. So, introduce yourself to the people. Who are you, and why are you decided to run for this particular position?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lakeisha Collins-Bellamy. I am a lifelong Yonkers resident, and I am an attorney. But more importantly, I am a daughter. I am a mother to a 14-year-old high school freshman, and I am a wife to Damien, who is a CO at Westchester County Corrections. The reason why I am running for this seat is because I feel like there are some things in Yonkers, in our community, that are lacking, and I know that I could get the job done and make Yonkers one Yonkers for the people.
That's what's up. So you said your husband is a CO up at Valhalla.
Yes, he is, for almost 2 years now. Before that, he was at Downstate.
Well, my partner, who I started Black Westchester with, he's on vacation right now. David Jones is a correction officer up there.
Okay.
Been there for 30 years. He works the night shift.
Okay.
But don't forget about my brother.
Yes, and Lorraine's
brother's
brother.
big up there. My brother's big up there.
Oh yeah.
Lorraine's brother Hector Lopez.
We have to connect on that one.
Yeah,
Yes,
Sergeant Hector Lopez. He got his own office there. He got some type of promotion. I don't know. He got his own office.
Yeah, my husband was on overnight too, and they just now he's on 3 to 11. He can't wait to get back to the overnights.
Yeah, that's what Damon do. Yeah, so Hector is the head of Westchester Hispanics Latino Law Enforcement, Westchester Hispanic
Law Enforcement Association.
Okay.
And Damon is the head of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America.
Okay.
So they're both good people to know if you
absolutely.
If you ever get into a situation or need some support.
Absolutely.
So Lakeisha, AJ wants me to ask you, how come you didn't promote this and you promoted Yonkers Voice?
So I did want to promote it, and someone created the Yonkers Voice ad for me. And today I was actually taking pictures. That's why I have the makeup on. So I didn't have beautiful. Thank you, darling. Thank you. I was like, I hope she don't think I'm putting all this makeup on to impress AJ.
No. AJ.
And ain't nothing wrong. And ain't nothing wrong with that.
I know that should be
AJ likes to be impressed. We need to keep AJ happy.
I was like, listen, am I coming on here with my salt and pepper? Like, I'll take your man. I'm
salt and pepper.
Listen, I don't want any static with Lorraine.
Yo, you can have half of my seed.
I don't want any static with Lorraine. I'm trying to stay on your good side.
Nobody wants static with Lorraine.
Listen, I see. She holds no punches, and that's what it's about. That's
Lakeisha.
Yes, ma'am.
If you win this, you will be the first woman of color to have that position. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, absolutely. Good. That's good. Absolutely. That's progress.
We're trying to make history over here. Absolutely.
So not only that, there's never been an African American.
Never been an African American. So I would be the first African American person and the first woman of color. Absolutely.
Okay, so and celebrating Black History Month, you would be history in the making.
History in the making, yes.
so
AJ is smooth.
Huh? Yeah.
That hat is smooth.
This was okay. Calm down. This was one of my birthday gifts from Lorraine.
I'm sorry. I spoke too soon. Go ahead.
When's your birthday?
You did.
Sorry.
She brought me two. The other one is the one like Jam Master Jay and Run DMC. I love that one. So I wanted.
When's your birthday?
It was Friday.
Okay, an Aquarius.
Yes.
I have nothing to say about that.
Okay, I'm just turned the double nickel. Yes. So
okay.
Yes.
Happy belated.
Who is Lakisha Collins-Bellamy, the person, not the candidate, the person?
So the person is always representing Cottage Place Gardens because I won't say born, but I moved there when I was about 7. I'm just proud of where I come from. I am a down-to-earth, cool as a fan, I'd like to think so myself, person. And just real laid back. I'm an only child, so I'm usually in my own world. But that and being a mom and a wife define who I am more than being an attorney. Sometimes I actually forget that I'm an attorney. I'm like, oh yeah, because in my mind, I'm just Keisha from Cottage. So I forget. And it's like, how you forget to pat yourself on the back after all you went through in those accolades? But at the core of me, I'm just Keisha from Cottage.
It's funny. My daughter lived 10 years in Cottage. My 3 grandchildren were born there.
Oh yeah.
She just moved out because of the development.
What's your daughter's name?
Taina Irizarry.
Oh, I know exactly. We moved her to the townhouses.
Yes.
See, look at that.
Yeah, she had a little mouth on her, but she's good people.
Okay.
So Cottage is where she used to live, Lorraine, when you used to take me over there?
That's Cottage, yeah.
Okay. Now I know.
Now you know.
Yeah. I'm not. Lorraine's my ghetto tour guide when I go to Yonkers. So.
Okay.
Shout out to our other co-hosts, Dr. Bob, Robert Baskerville, Dr. Bob, aka Brooklyn Bob. He's tuned in. So okay, so now for the people, I know I had this explained before, but every municipality is different.
Mm-hmm.
In Mount Vernon, there's 5 city council persons, and amongst the council, they vote amongst themselves who's going to be a council president.
Okay.
In Yonkers, you get elected council president, and you don't have to be a council person to be elected council president, which ironically I found kind of interesting.
That is correct.
So I just want to explain that, as our viewers come from all throughout Westchester and some outside of Westchester, I like to explain that to people because it's not always the same. It's definitely a different setup of government. Because I was the first time I heard it, I was like, how do you have a council president that's not a council person? Like, that was foreign to me. Like, but I guess it works for Yonkers.
That's because there are different types of government. For example, Yonkers is called a strong mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Type of government, whereas the mayor basically controls the entire city, other than the legislators. And another place, like for example in Peekskill, it would be the mayor, which is mostly ceremonial, and the city manager who does all that stuff. We don't have a city manager. We have deputy mayors put in.
Right.
Yeah. So that's basically
Yeah, New Rochelle has a city manager.
City manager as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
But it works for us.
Yeah, and Peekskill has the deputy mayor thing too. I was like, okay. Our city council in Mount Vernon, our city council president is the equivalent of a deputy mayor if the mayor's not there. Yeah. So getting all that out the way. So you spoke a little bit on it. Why this position? Why now exactly? Why not just one of the council seats? Why city council president?
Okay, so first I'll answer why not a council seat. So I live in the 1st district of Yonkers, so you can only run in the district where you live. And I actually threw my hat in the ring when there was a vacancy in the 1st district. When Chris Johnson went on to be a county legislator, I was one of the last 4 candidates in the running for that appointment. And as we know, the mayor selected someone else. And at the time, because of where I work and my salary was all federal dollars, I could not run against that individual. So I sat that one out. But being involved in politics has been always on my mind. I was a political science major in college. And it was like, one day I'm going to run. So if this happens, then I'll do that. Like a whole bunch of if-thens. And then watching the last election year and the way Stacey Abrams put Georgia on her back and brought it through, and the way the whole election process happened and watching it all unfold was an inspiration to me. And seeing all that Black girl magic going on, it was like, Keisha, what are you waiting for? Like, now is the time. So I'm looking at offices. I'm like, you know what? City council president, because I can be in the 1st district and be city council president. The only other seats available at this time were like Chris Johnson's, and I didn't want to run against him for a county office. So city council president, and knowing how this city operates, I know that I could get the job done. So now I'm putting all my faith in God and making it happen.
Okay. Lorraine, kick it off.
Oh, okay.
Yonkers, your city.
I know, Lakeisha, all fairness to you, and in respect for your position, I know that you got to run on your record. I'm not sure you can speak about. You're kind of in a tough situation because you are a trustee for the Yonkers Board of Education, which I thank you for, because my grandchildren go to the YTS school. So thank you for serving that. That is a volunteer position. You also do some work for MHA. So I'm not sure. You're in a position that you cannot really speak on those because there's a Hatch Act and there's this and there's that. And I don't want to put you in a position where somebody's going to call you and say, you can't talk about that, or put you in an uncomfortable position. So what can you talk about as far as your resume for city council president?
So being a trustee gives me a unique perspective because I've been a student in Yonkers Public Schools. I graduated from Roosevelt. My son attended School 5 in Yonkers and now a trustee. So I've seen it from the perspective of a student, a parent, and now a trustee. So it's like you see what the issues are, and now you're in a position to do something about it. So I think that that's an excellent opportunity, as well as if I was on city council, that gives me another opportunity, for example, to pass legislation or to approve a budget that gives more funding to schools, right? So as a trustee, I'm approving resolutions about policy for schools. We get to, like tonight, there was a meeting that I left to come here where there was a proposed budget. So we have input in different areas that I have a unique perspective on now. But as far as the Housing Authority and the Hatch Act, what the Hatch Act is essentially a way to prevent federal employees from using their jobs to influence individuals to vote for them. So where I run the fine line is more so with the Housing Authority, because I can't ever be portrayed as campaigning while in my role as an attorney for the Housing Authority, right? So that's really the fine line. So when I'm at work, I need to be the attorney for the Housing Authority and not Lakeisha, the candidate for city council president. When I speak of things that I've done from the community, even if it was outside of that role, I have to run a fine line, because at the end of the day, I'm still an attorney for the Housing Authority. Like the one thing at One Glenwood, that was totally outside of my job description of writing contracts and landlord tenant. I did it from the heart, but it's a fine line to discuss it, because it can be seen as, well, you're the attorney, so maybe you were working for Section 8 in that capacity when you did it. So that's the very fine line I run with that.
AJ, for clarification, she can't speak on it, but what happened was Miss Lakeisha was able to secure a very substantial amount of money, grant money, for the fire victims. She did it as a community servant, but because of where she works, like she said, it's a fine line to discuss it. But go ahead, Jay.
So we have a question from one of our viewers, one of our listeners. Paul Anthony Cuesta asks, can you ask her what she believes she can do better than Council President Cato, or what the current Council President failed to act upon that she could have solved?
Okay, that's a great question, Paul. So when I speak about getting things done, back in 2017, when the incumbent ran, that was his first time also running for office. And issues that I hold near and dear, like education and affordable housing, as you can tell from the roles I hold in the community, the incumbent also said were extremely important, right? So in 2017, there was a campaign in which the incumbent said affordable housing is extremely important. Education is extremely important. And when the incumbent was elected, for example, the affordable housing ordinance was brought up and first introduced in 2018 again, and it went nowhere, right? So it was introduced again in 2020, and right now it's in committee. So the residents of Yonkers are wondering what's going on. If this is what's important to the incumbent, then how come it's not done yet? Another issue that the incumbent ran on was water rates, right? And it was, we need to reduce the water rates. Yeah. And it wasn't until this year that happened. So if that's something that was extremely important and it took 3 years to get done, I hate to see what something that was important to the community but not important to the incumbent, how long that took to get done. So when I say make things happen around the community and in my role, I am known to make things happen. So I like to think that it would not have taken me so long. And as the city council president, you have the job as more or less the leader of the council to push things along and find out if something is stalling, why it is, and how you can move it forward, because it's something that's important to the community.
So for everybody who's just tuning in, you are tuned into Black Westchester's People Before Politics radio show special edition Super Tuesdays, where we interview the candidates. We're kicking it off this week, and our first guest here is Lakeisha Collins-Bellamy, who is running for Yonkers City Council president. I'm seeing people that just tuned in, so just so they know what's going on. That's good. Now let me ask you. See, now I've talked to, since we've been doing this going on 7 years now. We've talked to so many candidates, and I like to interview them once they get the job and they've done it for a little while, because one of the things that I see is it's easier to judge from the outside looking in.
Absolutely.
Then when you have the position, it's a whole nother story. There's a lot of things you want to do and say you would do, but then when you get there, sometimes your hands may be tied on. There could be certain situations. So if you win the position, I want to have you back. You know what I'm saying? After your first 6 months or so, and talk about what you expected and what you see is the reality of what the position is. Because there's always, it's easy to challenge an incumbent, and it's not against you. This is just a general statement, and talk about what he's not doing when you don't have the position. So I know a lot of, and once you get there, you'd be like, man, I ain't know it was like this. Then there's always those things that you didn't know and you got to navigate through. So if you win, I would like you to come back and talk about what you saw that was different than what you thought would be
expected.
Absolutely. Yes. Shout out to one of my brothers that's watching the show, Brother John Morrison of the Brother to Brother show.
Definitely
a dope meat show on Thursdays on Instagram. Him and his brother Tri-State Jericho. Absolutely. So shout out to them. Shout out to everybody else tuned in. All right, Lorraine. I'm piggybacking off you. Yonkers is your playground. This is you. Like.
All right. Okay, I got
Yonkers politics. Like you are.
Ain't nobody listen to me in Yonkers. No elected official listen to me in Yonkers. The only time they call me is to tell me to shut up.
No, they call you.
Seriously.
They do call you when they need help. Oh, we need your help on my campaign. I've been with you.
Yeah.
From
call me and explain that little debacle. That little. I'm not even gonna get on it, but they're gonna. That Hill needs to be explained. That's all I'm gonna say. Now,
did you ever get a response about who's given the vaccines?
Lakeisha, you really listen.
I'm sorry.
Don't get her started, huh, AJ? I went there.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about Northern Hill. Let me just say this. The governor, I think his intentions were correct. He gave the work. He passed it along to the county, to the city. They're supposed to take care of it. They're supposed to handle it. The mayor fucked up. That's all I'm going to say. When Kanye went on there and said, "Bush don't care about black people," I'm gonna tell you this: Mayor Steiner don't care about Latinos. Period. Don't know nothing about him. Don't care about him. You do not bring buses of people into a site, into an area, the worst area that Yonkers has, the worst. Because it's not like that, Jay, that they have managers and people to help them. These are slumlords that have left these people abandoned. Every single representative, from the senator to the county legislator to the assemblyman to the city council president to the so-called city council representative, all of them dropped the ball on this one. And it's a shame, and they should do better. And I found out some stuff that if I open my mouth, there's an atomic bomb going to hit Yonkers. They don't want to see that. All I'm going to say is do better next time, because people are watching. That's it. That's what I'm going to say.
So I'm going to stop you right there, Lorraine, and we can pick this up on Sunday to hear more on what Lorraine feels about that. Tune in Sunday night to the People Before Politics radio show.
I'm sorry, Lakeisha. I didn't mean to bring
No.
What I want to ask you
I
is...
actually was in the building for most of the days because the housing authority was also vaccinating its residents. So in that role,
yes, the housing authority was supposed to be for MHA housing. Yes. Yes, they actually, I can tell you how many people they vaccinated. They vaccinated 770.
Okay.
770 people were vaccinated. 220 vaccination hit the place.
Okay, so we're gonna stop.
Okay, we're gonna go somewhere else with that.
Yeah.
I want to focus on Lakeisha.
Okay.
Yeah, because we want to give her time as a candidate. So we can talk about this Sunday, and you got free reign Sunday to do whatever you want to say. And for Lorraine, who says no one listens to her, we're getting a bunch of comments from Brandy Nicole and Wanda London saying, "I listen to you, Lorraine. They listen to you, Lorraine." And there's people saying, "No, they listen to you."
The people listen. There's a difference. There's government and there's the underserved people. Underserved people, that's who I lead.
Okay, so
okay. Anyway, Lakeisha, City Council President.
Yes.
What is, for those that don't know, what is the role of City Council President?
Okay, so for those that don't know, there are 6 districts in the city of Yonkers, and each district is represented by a council member, and then there is a city council president that is a citywide role. The role of the city council president is like the omnibusman who essentially leads, although their vote is one, just like all other council persons. So they don't have more of a vote, a weighted vote over each person. So each person is one vote. So altogether there are 7 votes. A majority is 4, a supermajority is 5. And the city council passes legislation to deal with the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the city of Yonkers, as long as it does not conflict any county, state, or federal law, right? City council president is also the chair of the rules committee. So that's a special role that he has. And then there are like majority leader and a minority leader that are on the council as well. But essentially the role of city council as a whole is to pass legislation and ordinances for the betterment of the community of Yonkers, as long as they don't contradict any other laws.
Okay, so while you were talking, so I performed a little experiment. I'm getting feedback, and it's coming from your end. I muted Lorraine. I muted myself, and it's actually coming from your end. I don't know if you have something else on. If you have your phone, 2 devices on. Okay, you're muted now. Hold on. You just muted yourself.
Yes, I muted myself. I was trying to see if it would stop. Is that better?
Yeah. No, when you muted yourself, whatever we're hearing, I don't hear. But I don't know what that background noise is. Something. But it is.
Hold on.
I was trying to figure out where it was coming from. Shout out to Brother Arthur, Wanda London, Brandy Nicole. Who else is tuned in? Paul Anthony Cuesta, John Morrison, Dr. Bob, Latanya Baptiste Young, Kenneth Chamberlain, and everybody else who's tuned in. This is our special edition, the Super Tuesday of the People Before Politics radio show, where we're interviewing the candidates from 6 to 7 every Tuesday leading up into the primary. So, Lorraine, you muted yourself, so if you're trying to talk.
I don't know if that's better.
Yeah.
Lakeisha, what would be your first order of business if you become city council president?
My first order of business would be actually, that is an awesome question. And the first time anyone has asked that question. So Lorraine, you are awesome. But my first order of business would be working to more or less like a team building. And it's not even about the people. It's about making sure that the city council as a team works well together. And then the next order of business would be finding out what the needs of the community are. So I don't want to make assumptions about what the residents of Yonkers need. I want to meet with them so they can tell me, because I may have my own ideas. As a resident of Yonkers, I know, like right now I haven't moved my car for almost 2 weeks because parking in the snow is ridiculous and I don't have a driveway. So I understand some of the issues because I'm also a resident, but I'd like to hear it from the people. But more importantly, I feel like in order to get the job done, the council needs to be one council working together. So that would be the first order of business, to ensure that the council is working well together and then getting out to the people.
That's a tall order today in government, locally, nationally, statewide, countywide, working together. How do you think that you will bring everyone together maybe better than they are now, or continue keeping them together to be able to work together? What do you think that you bring that
To
you will be
me,
able to make that happen? Yeah.
respect is paramount. So if you don't start with respect, you're already off on the wrong foot, right? Everyone is a human. Everyone has differences, but ultimately we are all there and we took an oath to do a job. And it's about the community. It's not about individual personalities or anything of that nature. So I feel like the bottom line is respecting one another. And then it's about realizing that there is a common goal, whether it's I disagree with you and here's why I disagree with you. It's about finding that common ground and saying, okay, well, you want 20% affordable housing and you want 10. Where's the common ground? How can we move this forward instead of just stalling and not getting anything done, or working together and I don't know if you've all seen American Skin, the movie. Have you? Right. And
Yes.
remember when they were in the jury room and they were deliberating and they were just all talking out their differences and giving their experiences, and at the end they were able to change some minds because you realize that you have more in common with the person than you think that you do. So I think that's what's really important, people realizing that their differences are really minute, especially when there's a greater issue at hand.
Lorraine, I'm getting off for 2 seconds. I need you to keep talking. Lorraine, continue.
Okay, Lakeisha.
Yes, darling.
It's funny because you said unity. When I became a city council member many years ago, the city council president was Vinnie Vestiano,
Yes,
female.
the first woman.
Yeah,
And
I
every
love
woman
her
so
to
far.
death.
Yes.
She what she did was she helped unite us in the beginning because she called the Barbado, myself, and some other woman. I don't know who else. Oh, Simmer Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
And we all wore black hats to our swearing in. Like we all coordinated to say us women are coming in together.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
And how did that make you feel?
I don't even remember because that was so long ago. I probably felt
hat.
stupid standing there like with this black hat. I didn't wear hats back then. But couldn't Lakeisha,
Yes, darling.
please, if you become city council president, there are areas, for example. Now that age is not around, let me tell you. Right? There are certain things, like for example, you have the go-to people. For example, if you need an African American, where you gonna go? You gonna go to Jim Bostic on Upper Hand.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna go over here to this one. Same people.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over and over again. Not to say nothing bad. I love Jim. I love Jim with everything that I have. The community has evolved.
Right.
From 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
There are different people. There are different areas. There are areas that have, like I said, Northern Hill, totally abandoned. It looks like a third world country. Please, don't get caught up in the, oh, I gotta do right because this person over here and this in this community organization and Italian American organization gonna get bad at me, so I gotta do what they say. Please don't fall into the politics of kissing ass, basically.
That was never
be there for the people.
That was never my style.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that because that's what we need. We need that because it's getting crazy. At the first, okay, let me ask you this: if you win, do you have to resign both your positions?
So I would likely resign from the trustees, but I don't have to leave my job at the housing authority. Honestly, if I had to, I probably wouldn't run because I have a son that means the world to me. And although I am married, I need to be able to stand as a woman, as a mother, to stand on my own too. So I would not leave my full-time employment to take a part-time job.
Yeah,
So
and it is a part-time job. That people need to be clear about that. Yeah, it is a part-time job. What about we're in the era of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
you really don't know what's going on. You don't know when you're going to get vaccines. You don't know how you're going to give out vaccines. You don't know if you're ever going to get vaccines. We don't know how long this pandemic is going to last. Schools open, schools closed. We got all this stuff going on. So if you win, you coming into a handful. Is there anything that you got? Well, maybe you shouldn't say it, but is there anything that you're saying, COVID is here and nobody has thought if we can do this? Is there anything like that you have in mind?
There isn't anything, like, for me, it's like, how do we move forward if this is the new normal? Because we don't know if anything is ever going to go back to how it was. And we wish that it is, because I wish that my son could go to school 5 days a week and go out here and get on the bus like he used to and meet his friends and go to the store. And because I see the toll that it's taken on him, right? And my son was a student, loved school, and now it's like that lack of motivation is setting in. And it's like, what's going on? You used to be very on it. And he's just like, I don't see my friends, so I don't have that camaraderie. So it's kind of hard to figure out what the new normal will be if it never goes back to how it was. And I don't know if that will ever be the case. So we need to start thinking of new and innovative ways to get the job done if we can't ever be face to face like we used to, up close and personal.
And I guess you really can't even think of ways, because you really don't know what's around the corner. So you kind of have to handle it as it comes along.
Absolutely.
Go as you go. That's
right. That's about being
rough.
flexible. You can't be so set in one way that you can't see that there are other ways to get the same thing done. Right.
Absolutely. We are in a new normal now.
Yeah.
You have to navigate the new normal. Things change. We have new technology. We have different ways of doing things. Classic point. We used to do the studio for X amount of years in the show in the studio. Mm-hmm. The studio was closed because of COVID. We're doing it we had to find innovative ways to keep the show going, right, but to do it this way. You just have to be able to adapt. So, and there's going to be way more changes coming up. You got one question from a listener who said, how will Lakeisha handle it when and if she realizes that the interest and priority is not the same as hers?
So if we're referring to what needs to be done in the community, I'm not making an assumption that it is the same as mine. I mean, I know, as I said, as a community member, what's important to me, but that's why I said it's about getting out and figuring out what the community wants and needs, and then determining how best to get it done. So I'm not making the assumption that my way is the only way or my way is the best way. It's about doing what I've been doing, serving the community and getting them what they need to get done.
That's good. That's good. That's good. For people are seeing you and hearing you for the first time, some people don't know you. You threw your hat hat in the ring. For people who are liking what they hear, possibly, how do they get in touch with you? Website, social media, donate to your campaign, whatever. How do they contact you?
So I have a website, and it's www.Lakeisha, that's LAKISHA, the word for FOR, Yonkers.com. Lakeisha for Yonkers.com. You can find me at Lakeisha for Yonkers on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. Now I sometimes ask this at the end, but we do this. We ask some of the candidates questions that are not political questions, just to break up the monotony a little bit.
Okay.
That you probably are not going to get asked on any other show. So
well, that's good.
If your house was on fire and you could only grab 3 things, what would they be?
My son, the money out the safe, and probably my telephone, because that has all the important information in it. And my husband might listen to this and say, so you're not going to grab me? And I'm going to tell him he's grown. But yeah, I can see him now. But yeah, my son, the money out the safe, and my cell phone.
How old is your son?
14. He's my only child. Yeah.
Tough age to be separated from your
It
schoolmates.
really
Yeah.
is. It
Oh,
really
poor
is.
baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, question number 2.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a superhero,
Mm-hmm.
who would you be and why?
That's a good question. Like, I'm gonna go old. I don't even know if she's a superhero, but Bionic Woman.
Okay.
That's taking it
Why?
back, and I might be showing my age a bit, but I'm not really that old. I sort of reruns. Um, but I felt like Bionic Woman could do anything, right? Like she was just extra strong. I felt like she could hear and see anything. I would be Bionic Woman.
Okay.
Jamie, her
Jamie
buddy,
Summers.
Steve
Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jamie Summers. Yeah. Now, you know what? I've asked these questions several times. I've been writing professionally since '93. I
Uh-huh.
used to write for a lot of music publications. That is definitely the first time I got that answer. Now, you definitely
See,
never, ever,
it's
ever.
it's the time
Rappers,
for first.
actresses, actors, ball players, nobody's ever answered that question that way.
It's the first time for everything. First African American person, first woman of color, first Bionic Woman.
Okay, okay, okay.
So,
Any more?
Letitia, how are you?
Go ahead.
How are you networking, getting the word out of because of COVID? You can't. It's hard to knock on doors.
I have to get out there anyway. They have to see my face, they have to feel my passion and understand why they should vote for me. So, making phone calls, knocking on doors, social media, there's of course a certain sector of the population that don't have social media. So, I need to meet the people where they are.
Yeah, you could knock on doors with the door hangers.
Mhm.
Put a door hanger, knock on the door, stand 6 feet. If they'll open, you wave
Right.
and tell them,
Right.
I'm here. But the door hangers are
Absolutely.
sad. Everything's
Absolutely.
different. Everything's different.
Absolutely.
You ready? You ready to get on the ballot? You're gonna collect your signatures. Everything you need to get done.
So the first date is March 2nd. They pushed it back
Yeah.
last week. And now the only requirement is 300. And I am more than ready with my team. We're ready to go.
So
Absolutely.
you have another question from a listener, Brother John Morrison from the Brother and Brother Show.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Are you a part of a sorority?"
I absolutely am a part of a sorority. I am almost, this year will be 20 years in as a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Okay,
Yes, I am a Delta.
okay. Them daggone deltas. Now I'm just playing.
Don't start. You were doing so good, AJ.
So you're in good company. The first African American woman mayor of Mount Vernon is. She's a Delta.
Absolutely. She sure is.
Yes, 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 yes. And you and the first African American woman attorney general. I believe Tish James is a Delta as well.
Yes.
You
No,
so
well,
so
no. Tish, I don't believe Tish is a Delta. I'm not sure. I thought you were going to say Loretta Lynch, U.S.
oh yeah,
Attorney General.
and Loretta Lynch. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. So you got some good company there. Um,
absolutely.
that was from Brother John of the Brother to Brother Show. Um, oh, Latanya said when she asked her question was, how will you handle it when you realize the interests and priorities are not the same? She said I was referring to team building with other council persons. How
Oh,
will
so
you,
when a person doesn't want to be a part of the team?
so let me ask the question now that we know what she says. The question was, how will you handle it when you realize that the interest and priority of the council or a particular council member is not the same as yours?
Well, that's fine. As I said, the respect is the bare minimum. So I don't expect to agree with everyone all the time, but respect is paramount, right?
Right.
So we're all working towards one goal, serving Yonkers as a whole. And as long as we respect one another, we don't always have to agree.
Now let me ask you a different question, another take on that. So, um, say you have an opinion of an issue,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the opinion that you have. but your a council member, someone that probably let's say someone you never agree with, but they make a good argument that day. Can you then be open to it, even if it's somebody that say is a Republican or someone who you don't get along or y'all have never agreed? You know, I ask this question because what I see in politics is one, a tribalism. You know, this is us against you, it's Republicans and Democrats, is whatever, you know. And then it's just like if I really don't like you, then it doesn't matter what you agree with, what you say, everything is wrong coming out of your mouth. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Can you be flexible if someone presents something and it's someone that you is very very adversarial, but they've come with they presented their case or they presented a certain thing and it makes sense. Can you be flexible enough to change your thinking on the topic?
And not only would I change my thinking on it, I would let them know that I thought that was a great idea. Because again, everyone is human, and getting through to people sometimes is about breaking down that wall. So if it's a person that we were always adversaries and I thought they had a good idea, I would say, you know what, that's a great idea. And I never thought about it like that. And sometimes that takes the chill off of people when you aren't usually getting along. So absolutely, I am more than flexible. As I said, my way is not always the right way. But don't tell my husband. And yeah, I'm open and flexible to doing what's best.
So then let me ask you:
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel the way I see it? On the outside looking in, everybody wants to get in Democrats. Well, the city council president is already held by a Democrat, so that's not going to change. But folks want to get in more. You have 2 Republican seats.
Mm-hmm.
You got I know somebody as a Democrat that's running, and I love him to death, and I hope he wins. But I'm not too comfortable with a one-party city or even a one-party state. We should have a 2-party or 3-party system at best. How do you feel about it? Do you feel it should be all Democrats take all, or do you feel that there should be a little bit of balance? Because not all Republicans are bad. That one we had, yeah, but not all Republicans are bad.
I do agree that it's democracy is about choices, right? So
Yeah.
if you only give one flavor of ice cream, how are you gonna ever know that something else tastes good? Like, you have to give people the choice. So I don't think that we should have like a one party system, because there is going to be someone across the aisle with a good idea that you weren't thinking of,
Yes.
and that has a different experience. So they're coming from a different perspective. So I wholeheartedly agree that we give the choice and we let whoever come to the table that they want. As long as the people elect them into that spot, I say let them have their seat at the table.
And that's the exact answer you gave before, which means you're willing to work with everyone at the table, regardless.
Absolutely.
For the good. Okay. Very good.
And let me stand corrected. I have been corrected by several of the listeners. Tish James is not a Delta, so
Right.
I can admit when I made a mistake. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Jesus, AJ Data, right?
I called her Delta for the last year or so, so now I know she's not a Delta because some Deltas have definitely told me for sure.
Set you in the right
hand. The Deltas have let me know she is not a Delta.
Get it right, AJ.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we hear with our new vice president, her affiliation with a sorority and going to an HBCU and everything. For those who don't know, what is the advantage of belonging to a sorority? What is that?
So the advantage is sisterhood and
Okay.
a network behind you. Like, you can go anywhere in this country and you are going to meet someone that is in the sorority, right? You can walk around and see someone and they have on a pin, and it could just be something very simple, and then you say whatever you say to that person, you find out that that's your soror, and there's that innate, like, I'm going to take care of this person because we have this commonality, right? So it's the networking and it's sisterhood.
Okay. So now Yonkers is also different than Mount Vernon, where the school district is under the city government, under the mayor. That's which is a big difference from Mount Vernon. We have our own, setup. But what do you feel, especially with COVID? I know Lorraine got a little into this a little bit. How it's we our school districts and and neighborhoods of color have been suffering before COVID. You know what I mean? And COVID has exposed it even more. The difference in the education gap and the way, I don't know if as a council president you would even have any say, but what is your position on that though?
So I would agree that there was an issue with education well before COVID, right? And COVID kind of exacerbated the situation.
I'm losing you.
You're losing me?
All
Now.
right, hear you now. Now we hear you. Back in.
I was saying you're absolutely right that there was issues with the school system prior to COVID, whether it's be a lack of funding, more students than teachers, the education. There have been issues on both sides of the aisle. So there are people that will say the school system is great, and there are people that will say the school system is lacking. But I feel that funding education is paramount, and a lot of people disagree with how much teachers in Yonkers get paid. But if you stayed home with your child this year during COVID, I'm sure you have a newfound respect for that teacher and what they do in that classroom, right? So, but with COVID, there's been a digital divide, or households that have multiple children in them, and everybody has class at the same time, but everybody doesn't have a device. That's something that needs to be fixed. So I hear about it, but indirectly, I'm like, if you know someone that is facing that issue, reach out to me, because I would love to present the issue. I'm all about problem solving.
Okay, so Lakeisha, if you're saying if you hear about it, let you know you solve the problem. That tells me you already know there's a problem.
So I've heard
what
about
are you guys doing about it? Because we're months into the school year. Right. So what is the board doing about it?
So what I've heard, it'll be from someone that I meet on the street, and they'll say, I ran into a bunch of people and they say they don't have devices. And I'll say, well, get me names and I'll handle it. And then I don't get the names. So it's like, well, is it an issue or is it not? So I'm looking for, if a person says Miss Smith has 4 children and they still don't have devices, then I'm going to go back to the school board and say, I have this person, Miss Smith, here are her kids. What can we do about getting them devices? So right now I deal in facts, right? So if I hear there's a digital divide, who is the person, and then let's fix it. So
okay, so I'm gonna ask you one more question.
Yeah.
You're on the board. You can fix it because you are a board trustee. Now, what have you, the trustees, done to act the superintendent and the administration? Have you gone to them and said, where do you have a list? Have you done the research? Where are the people that need him? And now what are you going to do with them? Because, I mean, we can say, I'm waiting for somebody to tell me, and they don't tell me, but let's be honest. I'm sure there's a big list somewhere.
I would love to see it. So from what we as the board are told, right? Because usually we go through the superintendent to get information. We don't go directly to administrators at the school. We go through this. The superintendent is our only employee, right? So he'll say, here's the number of requests for devices. Here's how many were ordered. We haven't been told that there's a long waiting list of individuals that don't have devices. We've been told things like, so this person got a device, it broke for whatever reason, and we're going to replace it. So there hasn't been a long list of names provided or told us that there are people that are waiting that never got a device, waiting to receive them. So
can I interrupt you real quick?
Sure.
So as the editor of Black Westchester and not a Yonkers resident at all, I've been told of people who said that there's a waiting list, and they haven't been able to get devices. And secondly, the other thing is the school does know what students are participating and who are not. You know what I'm saying? And maybe
Right,
some of that
attendance
lack of
records.
participation is because they don't have. Is the school, is the school going to those households or contacting those households where the students are not participating to find out what the problem is? Because it might not be equipment, it might be Wi-Fi issues. It might be,
Right.
because there's a lot of people who have Wi-Fi. Hey, listen, everybody's working at a home, out of the house here where I am, and we have 2 students in this house. And the Wi-Fi is being overworked here. You know what I'm saying? So, you got
Absolutely.
a house with 4 or 5 kids, and then you got work, a parent that got work at home too. So, I don't know why. Like I said, the school knows they know who's participating and who's not participating.
Right. So to
I'd
answer
like
that
to see.
question,
Go
the
ahead.
teaching assistants generally are the ones that reach out to the households that aren't participating. So we get at our monthly meetings, like how many kids from this school logged on in this grade, what the percentage was, what's the percentage enrolled, how many went hybrid, what the percentage is enrolled in the hybrid, how many actually showed up. So we get that information, and the numbers tend to be high 80s, 90% actually attending school. But the teachers' assistants are the ones that reach out to the families to say, hey, what's going on? Little Jimmy wasn't logged on. Is there an issue?
So then the teachers' assistants are the same one that tell a couple of people if your kid doesn't go to school, we're calling CPS. Superintendent said that ain't happened. Superintendent, it did happen. I know people that it's happened to. It has happened. I don't care how you sugarcoat it. It has happened. They've been threatened.
Now, the only problem I have with the 80% or any number that high,
that's 20% without.
20% without. I'm sure 90% or 80% of that 20% is households of color, households with less means.
Right. So they
and,
don't.
and even if you have 80%, and that's a great number across the board to put across. But if you're not taking care of your less served residents, you're failing. I mean, that's just
doing a disservice. I wholeheartly agree with that. Absolutely.
Listen, the board can only do the board can only work with the information that they're given.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. They can only work with the information they're given.
Right. So if I, as I said, if I get specific cases about, I will inquire to the superintendent. Hey, what's going on with this case? Because a student came or a parent came and asked me about something specific. Absolutely. You can email me, reach out to me, and I will give me a call. Lorraine, you have my number. So if you have the information, send it to me and I'll definitely inquire.
Now, another question that you might not get from a lot of other media. I'm an artist at heart. I was a recording artist at one point. Our neighborhoods, Mount Vernon, Yonkers, we have a lot of talented youth. But what I'm finding is the resources and the programs for them to go to don't exist. They take stuff like music and art out of the classes. They don't have things to nurture those talents. All of our students are not book-minded students that are, going to go to college and going to get a master's and they're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? We don't. We're taking the arts out of our school, and I'm not sure about Yonkers specifically. I know Mount Vernon. We're losing more and more services outside of the school that these kids can benefit from. That's one part, and two part for those kids that are not going to be college ready. The teaching of trades to our kids. We used to have a shop and home ec and all that stuff in our schools, and you come out, almost ready to, for a trade. Even if you didn't go to college, what's going on in Yonkers with that? Are those problems in Yonkers, or are those
So
things you could work on? Go ahead.
there is definitely cuts in funding that cut. Like now we have intramural sports for the most part, whereas each school used to have their own teams. Arts and music cut. Those are generally the first things to go, unfortunately, with budget cuts. And so there we have intramural sports, so we have like soccer, basketball, wrestling, but it's not at each school. Like the soccer team when my son played, it was different schools and they played against each other. So that's an issue that goes to the funding from the city and from the state that needs to be increased. Um, Saunders is a trade school in Yonkers, so they do have shop, they have auto body. Those are still in place. Roosevelt had auto body, but Saunders has also trades. But I don't think any school teaches you about like being an electrician, a plumber. Those are all trades that get paid a great deal of money and are respectable. Not everyone needs to go to college. Um, not everyone wants to go to college. So those
Not
are
everybody,
things that
not every kid is going to be college ready and college
absolutely,
material when they graduate.
absolutely, and
You know,
so we need to have those ways to get them into those like the union journeyman to become an electrician because they're making $90+ an hour and didn't necessarily have to go to college to do it. So those are awesome ways to make people in the community more viable. Absolutely.
it's interesting. My son graduated from with the school up here on off of Lake Avenue. Oh,
Gordon.
Gordon.
Uh-huh.
God, Gordon. My son graduated from Gordon. Well, he was in Gordon and a museum middle school. He will help with the videos, the student
Mm-hmm.
video shows. And then when he went to Gordon, he got put in the team that did the lighting for the stages and everything. My son is now a director, a stage director for a major motion picture company for
That's awesome.
a big Netflix show that comes on. And he got his start at museum to Gordon, and now look where he's at.
That's awesome. And I know Roosevelt had the TV program because that's where I went. So they used to
Okay,
do
so
like
I guess he must have
youth
worked with
events.
them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I like
I'm
to
not
see.
artistic. So AJ, let's talk about your career. What kind of music were you doing?
Well, we'll talk about
Oh,
that.
don't get it
I want to.
started.
I'm
I want
curious.
to. You can Google me and figure that out. But I want to make sure we give you all the ample time that you deserve. So we're actually over the hour. But are there any questions I didn't ask you that you want people to know about you, about your candidacy, why you're running, anything like that?
So no, you all asked some great questions and some new ones that I hadn't heard before. So that I did appreciate. I just want people to know that I am from Yonkers, for Yonkers, and about creating one Yonkers for all. And
Okay.
again, my website is www.lakeisha4yonkers.com. So go onto the website. You can donate, you can volunteer, you can check out what's going on with my campaign. But first, I need to get on the ballot. So that means signing my petitions so that I'll be on the ballot in June.
So I do want to deal with that real quick too.
Okay.
So the signing of the ballot start when you can first get signatures starts when?
March 2nd.
And it ends when?
March 22nd.
Okay, that's my dad's birthday. Okay,
Okay.
so by April 1st we should know who's on the ballot. We should know pretty much who's on
Yes.
the ballot by then, or
So I'm not sure if the because if they get challenged, so I don't know how much
well, yeah, the
lawyers know
challenges
about,
and stuff. Yeah.
right. And it goes to court and drags out. You may not have an answer as to whether, because the requirement for city council, um, because Yonkers is a city of over 250,000, is 300 signatures. It used to be 15, but because of COVID, they reduced it. So in order to be on the ballot, you need to have 300 registered Democrats sign your petition, and then your opponents can challenge those signatures to essentially try to get you off the ballot.
Right.
And it's important. It's important to note that she said she lives in the first district, and she lives in a certain county legislative district. She's running citywide.
Yes.
So therefore, anyone on the north, south, east, west side of anyone that's a registered Democrat can sign her petition.
Absolutely.
So if there's somebody that wants to sign your petition, but they can't reach you, how do they contact you and say, Miss Collins, I want to sign?
So they can either go to the website or they can shoot me an email at contact@LakeishaForYonkers.com. contact@LakeishaForYonkers.com. That's the email address. And I would love that. I'll definitely either come myself or send someone to get your signature once petitions begin.
Well, I'm going to call you because I want you to visit my house.
One
Okay.
last thing about the schools that I think is lacking overall, maybe not Yonkers, but just overall our school systems. We don't teach civics. And I think it's very important that we get civics back too. Because we have uninformed adult voters. You know what I'm saying? If you start teaching them this to understand how these things work, you're training up informed voters.
Right.
You're training the future voters. And I think overall we all benefit, you know what I'm saying, from being more informed voters. Hopefully this show does that. The reason we do this is to kind of give people a look at you and then the other candidates so they can make more informed decisions.
Absolutely. And not just party lines or eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Right.
So again, why should they vote for you?
So the residents of Yonkers should vote for Lakeisha Collins-Bellamy for City Council President because I'm about getting the job done. What I say, I do. And we've been with the incumbent now for the last 3 years. And at the start of the election, affordable housing was important. We are 3.5 years in, and it hasn't happened. At the start of the election, the water rate was important. And it wasn't until 3.5 years into the election that we got the tiered water system. So if it takes 3.5 years to get something accomplished that is important, imagine all the things that you think are important but may not be to your elected official. So vote for Lakeisha Collins-Bellamy for City Council President to get the job done for Yonkers. I'm from Yonkers, for Yonkers, one Yonkers.
That's what's up. I thank you for coming to start off our Super Tuesday show. I wish you the best. If elected, hopefully you'll come on more often and utilize us to get the word out and to reach the people. Again, thank you very much. We wish you the best.
Thank you. You know I'm going to Google you, right, AJ?
Yes, you can. So now that we did that, I wanted to make sure we gave you a time.
Yes.
I was in a rap group called JBC Force. I had a song. I lived in Long Island from the age 7 to 14. Back and forth.
AJ, you're muffled.
I had a song called
Strong Island.
It's actually the 33-year anniversary this year. January was the 33-year anniversary of that song. To date myself, I was out when KRS and them did South Bronx. I was on the same label around the same time. So so that's enough of that. But yeah, that's
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look for the song.
I did a little 1-2-1-2. I kicked it a little bit. and then I wrote for the music magazines like Source and Vibe and all of them after that.
Okay.
Somehow,
I got no claim to fame.
Somehow,
I
God.
just love music. I can't sing. I don't dance. Yeah, I just love music.
Somehow God threw all of this in my lap. So, now I'm doing this. So
including me.
Yes.
God threw you in his lap, Lorraine? No comment.
Hey.
No. My little dogs My 3 dogs that I'm quarantined with don't want to hear that.
I would say this is a PG show, but Lorraine is already cursed, so nobody gonna buy that. So so anyway, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. I wish you the best. I will be following the race, and hopefully, when you win, we can have you come back on or whatever. So
I would appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Lakeisha, good luck, honey.
Thank you,
Good luck.
Be in touch. Take care.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe out there.
You are now tuned into the People Before Politics radio show, brought to you by the good folks at
Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper.
Real talk for the community since 2014. All right, so we're coming to the close of the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the first episode of our Super Tuesday edition of the People Before Politics radio show, where we will be interviewing the various candidates running for office throughout Westchester County and maybe the surrounding areas. Every Tuesday, 6 to 7, right here. And also check us out, as always, on our regular show, Sundays, 6 to 8. Until next time, peace.